All right, so just gonna kind of go off the hip here, and explain like how I break down my plays, just like start to finish. So like AMC obviously is a little manipulated, but like you can still do TA on it. So I'll kind of start fresh here. Can you guys hear that background music, Rico or Rob? Okay, good. Um, okay, so usually I just go out to the 1 year. How do I clear out this whole? Just go to like the 1 year, 1 day. So that way you can just kind of get like a broad overview. Sometimes I even just break it back to like 3 year, 3 weeks, or sorry, 1 week. So if it has some sort of trend, like obviously this is where it just started kind of getting to the downside. Um, so I entered, where are we at here? This week, 111 of 21. This is where I started this of a journey. Um, but this is kind of like where you can start. So now that you know, like, okay, like your general kind of support is probably around here, arguably. But like, if you're doing a 1 year, you kind of want to like set it up as if like, okay, like what's the big break? Like you can kind of say like, okay, here's your first break. Yes, like this is when we got up. It doesn't have pre-market here, but got up to 24, I believe, and then obviously got ripped down. So I don't consider a ton of this important right now. If somehow we break below this figure I'm about to show you, we can take it from there. But here's the 1 year. So I keep it pretty simple. I did post kind of my setup in my alert channel so you guys can kind of get access to what I'm about to do here. But like time access, I always put 50 bars to the right. So it's like 50 days essentially, just so I can have a little bit more space to draw and expand lines there. And then always, I mean, I always have it on volume, or I mean, yeah, volume bar based on buy or sell volume. So if we're starting at the 1 year, 1 day, like I said, like I kind of want to like do something that's gonna like be confirmed breakout, but also anytime you're drawing trend lines, you want to get as many touch points as possible. So if it's ever like a question like, I don't know if this is support or resistance, like, okay, well, here's a touch, here's a touch, here's a touch. Like, it'll make sense here in a second. But basically, what I was going off of, so I believe it was this one. Maybe it's this one. I'm just gonna load it to keep like the time sensitive here. So like I said, like when you want to load it, you just copy the URL that I put in my channel, come up here, open shared item, and then paste in here. And then it'll say import. You'll save the study set. One of them is long guap. So this is more like what I would use right here. So it's more of like a generalized long-term approach to macro trends, I guess, if you would say. So like it's not going to be super complex. It's just going to kind of give you your 200-day, the 50-day exponential moving average, a few Bollinger Band crossovers. So I'll get into that in a second, but we'll just load the long guap. So this is like what I always start with on my skeleton when I'm building like an entry to find like your resistance and supports. Um, so down here, I'll just show you real quick. Can you guys see? You can see this pop up, okay? So you got your Bollinger Band crossover. I'll get into that more when we get on the micro side because macro, it's important as you can see, but not dire. 200-day simple moving average. That's your blue line. Moving average exponential. Your 50-day. That's your yellow. Again, you can kind of open up each of these to make them what you want. RSI on the bottom. OBV is this line up here. And then your MACD. So again, pretty simple, but you start kind of here, and then you build out your Fibonacci's from here. So I just do a standard Fibonacci retracement, like nothing too special on it. But like I said, we kind of want to find our support. So I like this one. I believe this is the one I used as our base. And then you kind of bring it up to the top here. And you can see, like I said before, like, okay, where's your most touch points, but also what's like some pretty respected floors here. Oh, I see, I already fucked this up. Okay. Oops. as this gap, I believe. Fuck. Okay. No, it's 1450. Alright, sorry guys, I'm challenged. Okay. So 1452, it's a little rough estimate, but like I said, like I'll just keep bringing the lines down until it kind of just sits on the chart as it should, to be honest. Like, yes, you could argue and go way up here, but like if you look across the board, like it is pretty respected, but I like coming down almost to the second one. Maybe, is that 2609? We'll actually go down here. This is what we have it to. Okay, so rough estimate, we'll adjust them as we get more into our micro, but just gives you your channel. So like I preach on this a lot when I trade, but like your fibs are going to be your channels that you want to look into. Like obviously, yeah, I'll have to address some of these, but obviously like we trade within these channels. So like I said earlier, like the 1450 up to, and I'll have to get it back in here, up to about the 2078, I believe is what it is about the same same thing to me. So upper channel, lower channel, like it doesn't matter to me until we break out of that channel. So pretty self-explanatory, but this just gives you your channels, and then we'll get more into the micro. So micro, we'll back it up. I posted in the channel, but micro, I'm typically using your 20-day 1 hour, or sometimes 180-day 1 hour, and we'll cover kind of similar crosses to these and what they mean. But like I said, when I get into the micro, I go to the VWAP, so just more of a intraday short-term indicator. What did I just say? Did I just delete that? Hold up, guys. Well, this will be a good example to show you how to upload them. All right. So I just copied the URL from over there, open a shared item, and paste. And it should allow me. Yeah, VWAP micro. So that's exactly what I put in the group chat. Successfully added. One sec. Okay, what the? So like I said, on the VWAP, it's more of an intraday. So like you look at this and you're like, oh, and like this is not like what I signed up for. Like this looks complicated. It's really not. Like once you understand it, you'll understand why there's so many lines. So this looks like chaos, but like if you back it up here on the 4 hour or even the 1 year, like you'll see like, okay, like this is clearly that pivot point that I was kind of talking about, and I'll show you why I think it's confirmed. This RSI here, it just should not spend this amount of time this oversold. So obviously like this is a big pivot point. We touched up, hit our bottom, touched up, and like I said, we're going to back test every single breakout from here on out until we hit our one of our elevators, which are these. But back into the micro, I'll start on the 20-day 1 hour. So like I said, this is pretty in depth, but if you zoom in on like a 5-day, like just so you guys can have an idea what each line is. This is your 50-day SMA, so I dropped the SMA down to 50. It's just more of a micro trend. This green line, which you can adjust, just change it to red, pink, whatever. So this red line is a 9-day moving average exponential, so just a little bit more tighter to the trend you can see, and then your VWAP is your purple line, upper VWAP, lower VWAP, and then your general RSI and whatnot. But like I said, that kind of explains it. So I'll just kind of explain my approach, like if I'm trying to swing trade something. We'll break down AMC a little bit here. So 180 day, if you just zoom in, you'll notice like this is a best channel, like 1450 up to about 26.1. Like obviously that's some length to do. So like I say 1450 to about that 20, It's around 2078 is where one of the fibs were, but that's what these lines are for. So that's where I think anything at the bottom or the top of it is the exact same to me. I could care less, to be honest. And especially when I get into these fans here and what they mean. So into the micro some more. Obviously, what took place here. So this is like your W that we saw in the macro. Went up, and we got a back test because we started back here. So we went up, back tested. Yes, you can say it didn't touch here, but the fibs, like I said, could be moved probably up to about here if I wanted to. But you can see it kind of getting through its mess here. So the main thing that I do, I'll try to find a good day on when you can enter a trade here. So let me get down to the macro, or sorry, micro. So this is like a really, really solid trading day. So it's zoomed into the fans, but like still take these lines like with a grain of salt. So the cool thing here, and like the way that I learned, is just like momentum needs to be confirmed before like you should enter or even like exit a trade, to be honest. So you can edit these VWAPs too to where there's no upper and lower band, so it's not so many lines confusing you. Let me see if I can do that real quick actually. I know you can. Yeah, you can go in there and adjust that. I'm not going to do that right now. But I don't trade in the first 15 minutes, like I always said. Obviously, you can see why. Got head fake, ripped down, came back up, closed the candle there, got ripped down. So like this is about after your 15-minute mark to where you can find a channel. Well, you see it got pulled underneath the bottom band of the VWAP, so it's gonna be oversold here. Not too bad on the RSI. But here's when you start getting some crosses in. So like when these three lines are tight like this, like, well, disregard this green one, but like this blue, pink, and red, like when they're this tight, like you know, like if you have Bollinger bands on, you know like something's about to give. Like you see the EMA crossing over here, that's what a Bollinger band crossover is. Broke up, hit the top, came back down. I still wouldn't be entering right here. I need like a true confirmation. So I always go off the 3 candle confirmation. So here's your first break above to the upside above all 3 of these indicators. Your exponential is breaking through to the upside. So you know, okay, like the Bollinger bands are getting tight here. So here's the breakthrough. So this is the first candle. I always do a 3 candle confirmation. So here's 1, 2, 3. If this third one closes green, which this one barely did, I probably wouldn't touch it yet. But if this one closed green like this, almost a hammer, this is where I would enter if I'm like trading intraday. So you see here, like, okay, this Bollinger Band crossover is always going to be delayed from this movement right here. So when I say like a triple cross is coming, like this is the triple cross. So when it got confirmed, it popped up from 1850 up to 18 whatever, and it just kind of keeps riding. So like I would stay in this trade if I'm day trading it until it gives me a signal that it's dropping below your exponential moving average. So the signal to the downside, it's the same kind of thing, and there is some judgment within this. So here's your first one breakthrough. Here's 1, 2, 3. This is a strong red candle closing below. So like it wasn't the full candle, so I'd still see how this one is. Well, that whole thing, it was green, but it closed below. So like maybe I would argue an exit here or here if I could get one potentially, but I don't trade that systematically. Like I'm normally swinging. Like I would probably just be holding through here because it's still sticking on this line and it's above your VWAP. So that's the most important point. It comes down, bounces off of, comes back up, and kind of the same thing. So not quite a 3 confirmation because this one's red. Drops down, 1, 2, 3. Not fully over this yet, so I wouldn't count it. Wait to see how this one is. It's red. I don't like that. Would it enter? Then it crosses again here. So here's your 1, 2, 3. Red, red, but it bounced off here. So I would probably enter here. And you can kind of just see where that takes you. So like it's always the 3 candle confirmation. That's kind of why I do the 5 days with a lot of this stuff. That's the gist of it. Like I don't want to get too in the weeds on this. We can kind of just give you the foundation and you can work with it from there. But Captain Trips, I strongly disagree with you. I think like I don't know, man. I think we could maybe find this orange one tomorrow. So this is gonna be rising. I'm saying the floor is like 1650. Even if we somehow do manage to drop that, like you got some strong horizontal supports here. Like you can see a strong one here at $16 even. So like if it were to, RSI is already ripped down clearly. We're just kind of shifting into different parts of this. So like I think we'll come down here, bounce hard unless the market's like really bloody, then we'll come down to 16 maybe, but 21, goddamn, it's a big dig production right there. Wow. Okay, I might not be giving call outs. No, we're hitting 21 tomorrow. It is gonna take something special, but dude, this is after a 3-day weekend, and I don't know if like you understand like exactly how much gets built up at that time. But like there's not much more to like explain to it besides the fact that like I've experienced 2 of these now, and I know what it feels like leading into one, and like people think like, oh, we need our gamma ramp, all this other stuff, and it's like yes but no. Like let me just kind of make this simple again. We really don't need a gamma ramp. Like I said, like once we found our floor here, I told you we're gonna stair step up, like stair, fall back, retest. Didn't retest this one yet. Fall back and retest this. Come back up, breakout, got to retest. If there's not enough volume, like that's the key on these low volume days, is we'll probably retest previous lows, break back up, get into a new channel here, and you'll notice that the 50-day is curling too on this one. This is my macro setup. It just all looks extremely bullish. Like sure, we dropped down to the yellow fan, but like we were riding that purple fan for a minute, and like with these channels too, once these start breaking, like we're gonna get a lot and lots of these Bollinger Band crossovers, especially as this loops down. So like if we weren't getting our 21 tomorrow, this would come down. If we do get our 21, it'd probably stay like kind of curve off of this line here. So like when this one crosses, like your 50-day EMA crosses your 200 SMA, like that's when you get some very strong movements. Like here's a cross going from 41 bucks up to 47. Like that's 8 to 12% increase. I don't know, dude. I'm not very good at percentages, to be honest. But that's kind of like why I see like, okay, when you start backing up on this thing, like these fans get big and they get big fast. So this 618 is green because when we cross this is most likely going to be where these cross. So obviously if it's a violent movement up, like maybe back here is a good argument that someone made earlier. You see this? Like obviously this one's a little bit delayed, but like you'll notice when it starts crossing over this line again. So like this, like when it starts crossing over your 50-day, yeah, obviously that's gonna be pulled up from this. Okay, yeah, when it starts crossing over your 50-day, like it's gonna get aggressive and quick. Like I think we could catch this purple one again quick and find this crossover, and like this is really where you'll start seeing the channel jumps. Like this is where you don't have to back test, in my opinion. Rico, Rob, kind of short and to the point. Was that pretty self-explanatory? Awesome. I just hope it like makes sense. Like I just like if you build a foundation, like it's really up to you what you want to do with it. So that's just a good breakdown of my approach. But yeah, I think we got 21 plus easy tomorrow with everything. Okay, well I'll be in the chat.